What's going on, gang? It's your boy Midnight coming to you live. I was just doing some setup here to get it ready, and so I just finished episode 4 of Landman. Obviously, starring Billy Bob Thornton, Ali Lauder, Michelle Randolph, Demi Moore, John Hamm. Uh, so here we go, episode 4, The Sting of a Second Chance. Now, um, the episode starts off with the deposition that takes place with the TTP. Um, and Rebecca Falcone, the lawyer, really leans into TTP. What we discover is the fact that um, essentially in Texas, a verbal agreement, as I believe that this should be something that's just done everywhere at this point, is that a verbal agreement is a binding agreement. Now, what was found is that, yes, there was a verbal agreement, but the verbal aspect of the agreement had expired after an alternate route, after Tommy essentially asked TTP or law enforcement, I believe, to use an alternate route, or they were asked to use an alternate route. Yes, Tommy agreed to it. They allowed it to happen, right? But the agreement was made, but there was never an end, like a set end date. So technically, it expired because it was only for that time being until the other route could get up and running. So obviously, TTP on the plane, they didn't on the road. Tommy and his company, they own the road, essentially. So all of that took place falls on the TTP. And so far, right now, Tommy and Monty and their company, Motex Oil, they're in the, or MTEX Oil, they're in the clear. They're good. So it's going to be like some 8-figure um, signage that's going to take place essentially. And Rebecca was, feisty and heated in this one because there was another lawyer that was representing the TTP that kind of made an off the cuff remark disrespectfully about her and her father. Forgive me, it's cold, but I love it. I had to wrap myself up in this. And she pretty much got very, very lethal with him, went for the jugular and everything. Um, Essentially just buried him in the dirt. Like there was nothing else that he could say or do. Even though, he had said something like, we've been doing depositions before she could walk or breastfeed or, while she was taking showers with her dad. That's what he said. And she really let him have it and kind of gave off a list of things that she could essentially sue for if they didn't agree, and that it was no longer a deposition. It was in fact a surrender because they had nothing that they could stand on. Based on everything, it's their fault at the end of the day. Yes, there was a verbal agreement, but at the end of the day, no one agreed to what the date would be, and that falls on them. Which I was like, all right, clean house, respect. So Tommy asks Rebecca to go out for a drink, takes her out for a drink. Um, and lo and behold, who shows up to that same bar? You have Angela and Ainsley. They show up to the bar and they spot Tommy sitting with Rebecca, and Angela gets very territorial, automatically thinking that Tommy's not cheating, but messing with another woman or has a side piece. That's obviously not the case. So they sit down, they have dinner, and Angela kind of just tells a story about how they were going to go to Mexico or Cancun, I believe, and Tommy planned this whole romantic gesture for her, right? And they ended up in this hotel in Lubbock. There's this black sequin gown that's sitting there, and Tommy appears in a tux, and he says that we're going to go to this George Strait concert. That's really what she wanted to go to see George Strait, but he had kind of planned it to make it seem like they didn't have, like that just wasn't in the plan. It was going to be something that they missed, but in fact, it was not. And after that, and again, Rebecca's sitting with them and she's telling the story. Rebecca's very intrigued by this, and then Angela talks about how the bust happened and they just lost everything, which essentially was the end of their marriage at the same time. And so it was a really, we'd already kind of seen Angela being vulnerable in the previous episode, but then we learn more of her vulnerability in this one, which I really, really like. And I love the fact that they are going towards this thing of them getting back together. I think that they can make things work this second time for sure. I just hope that um my hope is that Angela doesn't do anything to set Tommy off that will drive that and then ruin things again, and then also end up consequently hurting Ainsley and Cooper. Just would not bode well for them. So speaking of Cooper, we'll see more of him in this episode. They're working on that same rig that they're working on, trying to get up and running from episode 3. And one of the cousins gets hurt. Forgot the one cousin's name. But he gets hurt, and Cooper has to take over as the derrick hand, essentially, feeding the pipes. All right. After the guy gets hurt and his hand gets smashed, caught up in this clamp, and they have to get him down, rush to the hospital. Dale fusses them out like, we gotta get this thing running by the morning. So it's just Boss, Manuel, and Cooper working on the rig, trying to get it set up and everything. But eventually, they get it all done, which is fantastic. It's great. It's up and running. It's pumping like 250. So Tommy, when he pulls up, he sees them. He calls Monty, lets him know what's going on. He's like, all right, cool. Tommy tells Cooper, hey, listen, the mom's in town, come see her. He's like, all right, I'll come see her. What's going on here? He says, well, we're going to try to make things work. He's like, why are you going to do that? And he says, because I'm stupid. That's why. Okay. Oh, yes. Which I must touch on this. So after they get back, well, obviously Tommy and drive separately to go after Angela tells the story from at the bar. Rebecca takes Ainsley and Angela home. Rebecca questions her, is asking like why she's jealous. She has a whole other husband, but it's clear that Angela's not happy, as we can see, and which is what we learn. When Tommy goes upstairs, he sees her crying. He's like, look, I mean, he's got this whole house. She's saying, yes, like, come on, let's do this again. He's like, well, you're gonna miss all these things, nice kitchen, big house, big jet, Bentley. The Bentley's in her name, and everything else. She's like, I don't need any of this. It's like I believe that her telling that story kind of awoke something in her, what she was been missing this whole time, and she has been missing Tommy. And Tommy said, well, we've had a bad mouth. The only thing that we've had is he said that their marriage was terrible, but interrupted by moments of joy. And Angela said, well, we had great sex. She used to make me laugh. He said, well, that can't be enough. She says it's enough for her. She'll take that any day. And she learned that through everything that Tommy was doing, Tommy wasn't trying to neglect the family. He was making sacrifices so that they could be better off. But at first, Angela didn't see it that way. So now that she's kind of gotten in that point where it's like, I've got everything that I kind of want, but it's not even really worth it because other guys out here just gives you things, and it's like there's no fun, there's no passion, there's no love, there's no connection. Not like how there is with Tommy, right? So, it's hinted at. Well, Ainsley sees them in the morning. They're kind of giving each other the look. She's not wearing pants. She looks at them. They're like, "Yeah, you two are definitely getting back. Yeah, they're getting back together." So they have a group family hug, and Tommy kisses her before he goes off to work. After Angela waves him over to come and give her a kiss. So this goes back to the whole conversation with Cooper and everything. And Cooper, like I said, he says, "Why are we doing this?" So we're gonna get back together and figure it out. Okay, cool. So Cooper, eventually he gets a phone call at the end. Surprisingly enough, who is it? It's Ariana asking to come see her. While Manuel is also sitting there, who threatened him previously that if he catches him with her, he's going to kill him. I don't know if anything is going to crazy is going to pop off in the next episode regarding those two, but I think before the season is over, Manuel may find out, and Cooper might slip up, or Ariana slips up, or something happens where someone's not totally careful, and Manuel gets wind of it, and he decides to do something to Cooper, thus causing much more discourse between the crew. We'll see how that goes. Do I think Tommy and Angela can last? I hope so. I kind of hope it's like a Rip and Beth kind of situation, where sometimes he has to kind of reel her in a bit, and she's trying to push him. But even in their disagreements, they still want each other at the end of the day, right? That's what I love about their dynamic. They get smart with each other. Like they they go at each other all the time, but it's almost like it's a competition of who can get the best dig in. Wow. See what I did there? If you know my last name, there you go. But it's about like seeing who can get the best dig in, essentially, and like they have that banter, and it's cool and it's awesome to see. Honestly, I think it adds more layers and depth to the show. I think it engages the viewer even more because it's just so snippy and quippy between the both of them, and someone always has to have the last word. Someone always has to have the upper hand, right? But at the end of the day, you can tell like they really do. They love each other. They love each other, and I don't think Tommy's gonna. Now I'm convinced that Tommy's not gonna try anything with Rebecca. At first, I was thinking he might because he's trying to take her for the drink. He was watching her during the deposition, and he said that he really admired her and how she was doing everything, and then Rebecca asking in the car like, "Are you jealous? Like, why are you jealous of me?" Asking Angela why is she jealous of her, and I just it was the look on her face during the story. And then her asking the questions because she even mentioned, there's the 30-year age gap and all. I don't know. It could have. I was just thinking to myself. I said out loud as it was going on. I was like, this is kind of reminding me of John Dutton and I believe her name is Sam, the girl from season 4 and 5, the environmentalist who got locked up. Yeah, I was thinking that was kind of going to be kind of that situation again, but I don't think so. I think Tommy's gonna. He might be conflicted. I hope. Let me put it this way. My hope is that him and Angela stick together and they work it out. My fear is that maybe they get into they kind maybe eventually they have an argument or something. I don't know. Drives Tommy to do something with Rebecca, or Rebecca starts to catch feelings for Tommy, and then she tries to seduce him, and then it works. Angela finds out, and then it's a whole situation. I hope that is not the case. That's like push come to shove. I hope that's not the case. We already got to worry about Cooper possibly hopefully not, but possibly being shivved or beat pretty badly or shot or pushed off of the rig because him and Ariana might start to have a thing. And Ariana was with Elvio, and Elvio has, I don't know how many weeks it's been at this point. It doesn't seem like it couldn't have been that long. It's not that long after. It's not that long after. It's kind of been probably maybe 2 weeks after this whole situation has happened. Maybe a couple of weeks, we'll say. She's already kind of asking for him. Now, again, it could just be a thing of friendliness. But I don't think it's going to be that. Or, play devil's advocate here, it is a thing of friendliness, but then it turns into them doing something, and then it's a mistake, or Ariana calls it out as a mistake, Cooper calls it out as a mistake, Manuel walks in on it, sees it, boom, but he's not trying to listen or understand it, and then things go awry, which then means that Tommy has to get involved, get rid of Manuel, all this other stuff. It's a whole fiasco. So there's a lot of things, there's kind of a lot of gears turning here, I just want to say Ellie Lauder was great in this episode. I believe her acting is really well done. I'm loving Tommy's growth. I Ainsley's you can't help but adore Ainsley. She's gaining a wisdom in herself just by being with her father. Like she can come off. It's almost like she can come off ditzy, but she's not. Like she's very well aware. She has no filter like her mom, but also is learning to kind of have that quiet strength like her father. Like she's really learning and leaning and coming into her own with her own wisdom and understanding. because she said that she felt like her mom was a quitter. She felt like she left him because of the whole bust and, and left him to suffer. Well, Tommy says, well, that's not all that took place. I mean, he became an alcoholic because of the whole situation and, selling all her jewelry and all the things that she loved. And then she left him. And he said, well, we were going to end anyway, is what he said. And it just didn't seem like, I guess, to him it will work because maybe he didn't believe that he was home enough. Which, again, that comes with the job. He knows that he's not home enough. But he felt like he couldn't really give her everything that she wanted. But as we're now learning that Angela had everything she ever really wanted or needed, really. It really wasn't not even so much wanted. Everything she ever needed at this point. So I'm very much intrigued. I really love the development of this. It's not really much. It really wasn't much to hit on in this episode. Not like the last episode. There's just kind of these are these key points here. These key highlights. I think the episode's great. Whoever is doing the score, I had to mention this. Whoever's doing the score is doing a fantastic job. I love the orchestrals in this show. They're so good. Like, especially in the last few minutes of the episode, when Tommy pulls up on Cooper and all, and or really, I think it starts before he leaves the house and says, he has the group hug with Ainsley and Angela, and it's just this melody, and it's so beautiful, so beautiful. I meant to mention it in episode 3 too, the melody that plays when Tommy and Rebecca are leaving the crash site, right? I mean, damn. The score is great, bro. I can't even deny that. I love this episode. I thought it was great. You guys let me know what you think down below. I can't wait to see what happens in next week's episode. I'm excited for it. Stay tuned. Landman every Sunday, 9 p.m. If you got Paramount Plus, awesome. Check it out. Definitely do yourself that favor. I'm going to get my reviews done for Gladiator 2 and Wicked Part 1. And I have a lot to say about both. So I'll see you guys in the next video. Y'all take care. Stay safe. I really appreciate you being here. Remember to like, share, subscribe to the channel. Hope that you have a great night. Hope that you had a great Thanksgiving. If you're in school, great luck with finals. Take care. Y'all go and check me out at these here socials. I'll see you all in the next one. And by the way, make sure that you stay tuned for all types of content that I got going on at this here channel. Remember, one pack, one nation, one smooth hell.